So it's just over a week since the massive flood came through here. Downstream, Ballina, Woodburn, that sort of place, where it's still tidal in the rivers, it's still flooded. It was 5 days until anybody could get through from anywhere. And on that 5th day, suddenly a route was opened through to the coast, and everybody from Ballina who'd been stuck for those 5 days came up to Goonellabad, the high little suburb above Lismore, which is now the only place that has any shops. So everybody from this massive area, if they can get here, can only shop in Goonellabad. It's incredible. Lismore has 3 shopping centres, Ballina has 2. There's a small one in between at Alstonville. Two of Lismore's went completely under, one of which was built where it is and at the height it is because of floods, and yet it went under. So apart from the massive destruction, I think so far the count is 2,000 homes destroyed, cannot be rebuilt, just a demolition job. It's going to be more than that. Basically anybody who doesn't live on these hills up here has lost their home, job and or business. It's hard to describe. Lismore is not the only place, it's possibly the biggest number of people affected, so in the worst way. But up at Mullumbimby, all the hills up there, some of the hills have actually just slid down the sides of mountains, taken houses out with them. Communities are completely cut off and will be for months, if not years. So many roads are not just flooded, but destroyed, wiped out, not there anymore. No longer a road, but now a river, or now a pile of rubble halfway down the mountain. It's hard to describe, and there would be hundreds of those. They've only just, I just saw a sign up there, they've only just today reopened the main highway between here and Casino. Again, they opened it a few days ago, but then a bridge collapsed or something apparently. So yeah, the floods got to about here. Right about here. Just this side of this roundabout. And incredibly, that's the shopping centre that was built to be flood-proof. It was right up into the top floor of that shopping centre. It was built so that the car park underneath was a flood zone, and this shop should survive, so they didn't. It's just a mess. There's a big digger up there taking out the contents of that shop. I'm sorry about the sight of everybody's stuff. It's heartbreaking. I think in my previous video you could just see the tips of these trees poking out of the water. Anything that couldn't withstand 3 meters of water moving at 5 kilometers an hour is completely stuffed. It was up into those top floors. Can you believe that? Look, my friends back in Britain, I was talking to a very good friend on the phone the other night. So great to talk to you again, Colin, by the way. Said they'd heard nothing about this. So this is partly for them, just to see anybody who hasn't seen this on the news, which would be mostly people outside of Australia, I guess. This is how bad it is. Now, I don't know whether you want to call it climate change or global warming or what, but we created a situation where a river of water could be in the sky and then just fall for 6 days, constantly at flood level raining. The east coast lows and cyclones are now going 500 to 900 kilometers further south than they ever have, to the point where they can't even classify them as east coast lows and cyclones in the Bureau of Meteorology, because they go past the latitude where that is accepted. There's a current one at the minute south of us, luckily for us, but unluckily for everything from Coffs Harbour to the border with Victoria, are getting hit by a giant east coast low at the minute. Sydney's flooding again. We're going into what's called South Lismore now. The other bridge was there, I missed it, but the other main bridge was there, which also went under. It was actually used as an island, and the local heroes who came out with all their tinnies and rescued the people, because it was too much for the SAS and the other emergency services. Now, let me just say, people are slagging off the SAS for not doing enough. This is a ridiculous country where the life-saving forces that are most needed, that is the SAS, State Emergency Services, and the fire services, are volunteers funded by donations. People who do this out of a love for their fellow people. Okay? The fact that there aren't enough of them isn't their fault. Why isn't there a government-backed organisation to fill all of this? So it's horrendous, people. I don't know what else to say. It's actually extremely hard to go through, even as someone who didn't get their home destroyed. I'm dealing with people at work. Every second person who comes in has lost everything, you know? You do what you can. You tell them how sorry you are. I'm sure that helps bugger all. And smelly. I've talked to so many people who do find ways to help, and it's amazing. I mean, somebody came in yesterday, this little lady. She had a little piece of cloth, and wrapped up in the piece of cloth was all her bills that were due to be paid yesterday. And she was extremely upset. She'd lost everything. She'd managed to fish the bills out so that she wouldn't be in trouble by not paying her bills, and bring them to me for help. Anyway, I managed to piece them together on the photocopier and make her fresh copies of them, which actually scanned and worked, so that she would have a proper record of the bills she was paying. And she was emotionally so thankful for that. It just goes to show little things do count, you know. Help other people as much as you can in any part of your life. That is the only thing that will save humanity from what humanity is doing to itself. Let's stop all this being an asshole and help other people, for goodness sake. That whole valley there was a giant lake. You can see the brown stains of the flood. It's just unbelievable how much ground that has never been under water got flooded. I mean, some of that, I know the guy who owns that farm. He's a great rider, good friend. I guess parts of it do go under, but I'm pretty sure not all of it. That's just incredible. Hopefully he got his cattle out of the way. This is his farm after the flood had dropped about 5 feet. He did get his cattle up on the high ground, but that lake there continues all the way to Lismore, about 14 kilometres away. And I've heard that the flood lake was actually something like 150 kilometers long by 70 kilometers wide. It's hard to put your mind into a position where it can accept that this actually happened, even though it did. It's way beyond the previous experience of anyone. Way beyond the greatest fears. And like I said, the best thing to do is be kind to other people. That is so important in the world right now, and that's where I'm going to leave it. Be safe and be happy, people.